Hello witches, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lucca and we are renovating yet another EA house. So in this series, if this is your first time, I am currently just going through all of the different homes at random that EA has built for their packs or for the base game, and I'm just giving them a little renovation. Now, most of the time, these are going to be pack limited as well as on a budget. But this build here in particular, I did not give myself a budget. However, it is only base game. So let's go ahead and take a little peek at the house before I transform it. So basically, I don't actually change any of the walls for the most part in these builds, but I think I did with this one especially because if you can't already tell, the layout of this home is not optimal, not my favorite. The many problems with it is, of course, these lights in particular. I have a hate for this light. It is the worst light in The Sims. Look at what it does. They already have it at a medium wall height, which is already going to be making the house looking so much smaller than what it is. But also just look at the light. It only goes up halfway up the wall. It makes the top of the room look super dark and dingy. And it's sad. And we don't want that for a residential home. So also the layout of everything is just kind of, whatever. So I do transform the layout pretty much. Also, if you can't tell, the door not being symmetrical with the stairs, like I can understand if the door was like here or something, but it's just not centered. So that's a big problem that I fix. And all in all, the colors are not very nice. They're not terrible, but, just in general, I totally rehaul this home. But let's go ahead and jump on into the renovation. And here we are. So first things first, I was going to have to figure out this floor plan. I had to fix the walls. I had to fix the roof. I had to fix the floor plan because that was the main goal. Now, I did want to have a budget before I started this build, but honestly, there's nobody living here. And it's kind of nice having some homes that aren't just starter homes throughout the world that are unfurnished, that are nice because, some of the pre-built homes are a little bit, First thing I did was transform the front porch. I made it a little bit more cozier and made it a bit more like lived in. I add some plants and some, benches and just a hangout area in general. I did want to go with a different color scheme beforehand and I liked it, but it wasn't looking great. It was just not my vibe. It wasn't fitting the area very well either. I guess I associate this area of Willow Creek with really like traditional kind of earthy tones. That could just be personal preference, but I prefer using like greens and browns and grays and beiges and just soft, gentle tones that don't really like conflict with the environment too much. That's honestly kind of the goal with my builds, is just trying to make them fit into the world a little bit better. And I think I succeeded with this one. I do really like the flooring that I used out on the front porch. I love this like herringbone kind of detailed, flooring here. And I go in with my typical, base game only landscaping, me, how much I love the landscaping. I do also adjust the roofing a bit as well, because I felt like it just seemed kind of awkwardly shaped. And just that little change helped. Don't worry. I do change the siding to the green, the sagey green siding. That is, by far my favorite in the entire game. That honestly, I'm just going to say right now, I'm really frustrated with, because there is this beautiful shade of green siding in the base game, and I think it's just called simple siding. So there's several different versions of this simple siding. There's a version without trim, there's a version with trim, there's versions with brick and trim. They're really amazing. But the only issue I have is that they're on the plain siding that doesn't have any trim or brick or anything. There isn't the green swatch. For some reason, I don't understand. All the other ones have this green swatch, this green right here. I love it so much, but we don't have it in a trimless, brickless version. And it frustrates me because you have to use it in specific ways for it to make sense, because the trim is annoying. But regardless, I made sure to cover the front porch in lots of plants. I kind of tried to imagine who lived here, and I can imagine the couple that lives here are maybe they're scholars or maybe they're scientists, or just I feel like they're very academic. They're very traditional in their style. They love like dark, traditional furniture. They're very like into that style, but they have a child, I would say a child, not a teenager or an infant, but a child that really likes bright colors and is very different from them, but they're very supportive. They're just like, oh, we might not like all the bright colors ourselves, but, our child does. And so we're going to give them what they want and just make sure that they can, be themselves in their own space. I don't know. I just kind of had that thought process in my head because the kids' bedroom does not match the rest of the house whatsoever. The rest of the house is very traditional. It's very like dark and cozy and kind of a little bit slightly inspired by dark academia, but not really. It's not fully dark academia. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, I recommend going on to Pinterest or even just Google Images and typing in dark academia aesthetic, and you'll get lots of inspiration. This is definitely not, I just love living on the main road. I'm so sorry for your earphones, but I'm not re-recording. I'm sorry. Anyways, dark academia is not quite this. This is definitely not dark academia, but it's inspired. It's kind of got the flavor added a little bit, because dark academia is usually pretty like, and I hate to make this reference again, but it's pretty Hogwarts. It's like that kind of vibe. It's like castles and, big bookshelves and books, and it's like very collegiate in like the 1800s kind of vibes. I can't really describe it any other way, but I absolutely loved how this house came out. This might be one of my favorites that I've done. The layout is definitely so much better. It utilizes the space a lot better without like going overboard. I really have been liking keeping the kitchens separate from the main living spaces, just because I feel like the kitchen is a bit more of a busier space. Even if it's not, the kitchen is meant to be more of a functional space, and the living room is a bit more of a leisure place, if that makes sense. Like you sit in the living room to relax, you go to the kitchen to do things you need to do. So keeping those zones separate is what I prefer because, I feel like open plan spaces can be nice depending on what you're doing. But in just a regular traditional home like this, it just doesn't make sense to me. I really liked using these windows with these like dark colored curtains. So like you get like lots of light from the window, but the curtain covers up part of it. So it adds to the, the tone, the mood of this room a lot better. So yeah, you're starting to kind of see the dark academia vibes here. This, I think it's called a Lady Cordelia bust. I could be wrong on that. And I added a mirror, some old photography or paintings, some, these chairs in the living room particularly are my favorite. I used this couch from the base game, that one that you have to unlock, the hipster hugger sofa or whatever it's called. It's obviously not like the best couch in the game, but it's like the most simple couch because all the other ones in the base game especially are just kind of like blah. I don't like them at all. So it just made sense to use this one. If I was to decide, this is kind of a stand-in for one of those, velvet green couches, the bisexual couch. Yeah, that particularly. I would love to have something like that in the Sims. That would be so nice. But yeah, that's just kind of the general color scheme that I'm using in this build. Very dark tones with like dark wood tones, the darker green with like the accents of white. I think the accents of white really like help everything pop a little bit because you've got the accents of white on the doors, windows, the trim on the walls, and then the chairs here. It's a nice bit of contrast. I feel like, it's easy to kind of go samey on all of the colors and stuff, and that can make it look very flat and dull. So if you have some contrast in your rooms, then it's just going to make it look a lot more pleasing to the eye. And the kitchen I kept pretty simple. That's kind of the general vibe with these builds, is keeping the kitchens pretty simple because I'm not trying to like overdo it with these homes. Now, this one is probably the most cluttered home out of all of them just because of the style that I'm building in. Visually, it's very cluttered because of all the patterns and just like the colors and all that stuff. But also, it's just I did add a little bit more like decor and stuff, especially in the living room. But the kitchen I kept pretty straightforward and simple because, you can't really go overboard in the kitchen just because after you go so far, it makes it not very functional. So I kept it pretty simple, and I added a little china cabinet there. there in the hallway. And I tried to add some more cabinetry in here. I'm not sure if I like this. I think I experimented with, several different ideas here, but I kept it pretty simple in the end just because, again, I just wanted to keep it pretty simple. How many times am I going to say simple in this build? Do let me know. The wallpaper was kind of a challenge because I didn't necessarily want to just use the same wallpaper that I used in the living space because I feel like that can get kind of boring if you just use the same wallpaper throughout the house. It does keep it cohesive, but it does kind of make it kind of like, whatever. But I went with this kind of lighter green tone, and I thought that was quite nice. It kept the kitchen nice and bright, even though it is a small kind of cramped room. It kept it nice and bright and just flowy. But yeah, I definitely made the bathroom a lot smaller in this build too, because obviously, they want your Sims to be able to move around a lot better in these homes, because let me tell you, the routing in the previous Sims games definitely must have burnt the Sims creators. I don't even want to talk about the Sims 3, but I still made the bathroom smaller because a 2x3 tiled bathroom is plenty. It's plenty of space. It's all your Sims are going to need without it being too cramped and too crazy. So kept it simple, and I really want more curtains in this game. I really do. I think someone actually tweeted, I don't know who it was, but they tweeted that they wanted a kit that was just curtains, a curtain kit. I would love that. I would live for that. I would stand that. I would love that so much, because I am so tired of the curtains in this game, because we have a few really good curtains, like the one base game curtains that have like all the different colors, the ones that were added when toddlers were added. And then we have those curtains from the Desert Oasis kit. We've got our Desert Luxe kit. Is that what it's called? I never remember. But yeah, we don't have like good standard curtains that are just like good. You know what I mean? So yeah, I really want more. Master bedroom is pretty much done. Same vibes as the rest of the house. The kids' bedroom is very, very bright and colorful. I kind of based it off of this bed here that was from Parenthood, but is now base game for some reason. It's always funny seeing like these random objects that they make base game from just certain packs randomly sometimes. Like I know there's been some hairs, which makes sense because they want to add more diversity into the base game, so I'm okay with that. But for some reason, we'll just get these random objects once in a while, like the bed here, and then there's like that one window that was from Parenthood originally, but also became base game too. That's so weird. I don't know. Maybe they just decide to do that because they're like, yeah, we need more in the game anyway, so why not? Which I guess is fine. It just adds more to the base game to use, so there's nothing wrong with it. But it's just, I don't know. I just wonder what who makes the decision and why and like how, and I don't know. Just what do they think about? The kids' bedroom is definitely a lot more cluttered than the rest of the house, but it makes sense because it's a kid's bedroom, and they've got lots of toys. They've got some skill building items. They've got a nice bed. They've got they just got everything they need, and I really love the color scheme in here. It's super fun. It's super colorful, and it's not too much either. I feel like it's pretty universal, so you can change the colors of the furniture and it can be a different vibe completely. And then all I do is I kind of fixed up the bathroom a little bit. Did not take me very long at all. Ever since we got that update recently where we have more slots on the objects in the bathroom, like the sinks and the toilets and all that stuff, it's been easier to furnish them. It's just a tiny little thing, but it's changed so much, and I'm so happy about that. But yeah, I think all I do for the rest of the build after the bathroom is just do some landscaping, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there really isn't a whole lot outside, so it's just landscaping, and I add a car, and that's really it. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Do let me know in the comments any more suggestions that you have for this series. I do plan on doing the larger builds later on, like the Land Grab Mansion and the Magic HQ and Realm of Magic's little Glimmerbrook world. I do plan on doing those. Those just take a lot more time, so bear with me. But just add any more suggestions that you have for any other builds in the comments as well. If you got to this part of the video, why don't you comment your favorite aesthetic, for example, cottagecore or dark academia, and tell me why. I don't know. I just really like hearing different vibes, and maybe I'll get inspired to build something else too in the future. That is everything though. Thank you all so very much for watching. Stay weird, and I will speak to you all next time. Goodbye, witches.